We create our own history, but we do not make it as we please. We do not create it from circumstances that are chosen by us, but rather circumstances that are conveyed from the past. The Kliptown community has encountered a dark past, but the youth are rewriting the history and creating a culture of success and upliftment. My name is Pule Mulebati. You are watching Stories Untold. This is the success story of the Kliptown Youth Program. Let's have a look.
Kliptown is one of South Africa's most historical communities, known as the birthing ground and home of the Freedom Charter, where the greats such as Walter Sisulu and Nelson Mandela treaded on its soil. The greatness experienced by its sons, however, is fading, suffocated by poor water and sanitation conditions, unemployed youths, poverty, crime, and poor infrastructure. It's easy to exile Kliptown into a desert of despair and hopelessness. However, the seeds of despair can sometimes bear the fruits of hope and legacy.
My name is Thando Bezana, but my full name is Thando Xolo. Was born and raised here in Kliptown, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Kliptown Youth Program and currently serving the organization as the operations manager. We founded the organization in 2007 on the 27th of May. So we've been running for 14 years now. So we are teenagers. We started the Kliptown Youth Program as a group of friends in 2007. So it was just an idea that we had, especially with the center here that you see. The center used to belong to the Catholic nuns. We are told that historically it used to be a Roman Catholic private school when Kliptown used to be one of the most beautiful places then. But it was closed down as the school. But the nuns who used to live here, they were the only white people who lived in Kliptown even during apartheid, serving the people with things such as food, clothes, and all that. So they opened the center to anyone who's got an interest into using it for community purposes when they left in 2005. So that's when, as young people who were just fresh out from high school, we saw an opportunity because we saw that this place was going to be vandalized. So we came up with ideas to say, hey guys, why don't we meet on the 27th and come and see what we can talk about? What is it that we can do with this center? But, excuse me, when we arrived here, it was more than 70 to up to 80 young people who were gathered here, because the message that has spread around the community was that there's a new youth program or youth club being formed at the center there. So that shows how much people were hungry for such an opportunity, especially young people.
Evolution is an important part of creating sustainability. Even though the initial focus of the KYP was performing arts and then later extending the scope to sporting disciplines, they knew they needed to evolve, and purpose and impact sprouted.
But as time goes on, I think it was about 2 or 3 months after, we started sitting down to say, guys, these things have been done before in our community. We've seen local soccer teams, we've seen local groups being formed here, and they go nowhere. We really need to create something that will have a real impact into our lives and in the lives of the children. And we knew that now we're getting exposed to ideas that when you come from a community like ours, when it comes to bursaries and scholarships in universities and colleges, when you come from a community like Kliptown that is so poor, you are a priority, you are exactly what they need. But we looked at our own results, that we didn't do well. That's why we couldn't access such opportunities. Why don't we try to invest our time and efforts in ensuring that our young people now can qualify for such opportunities when they are presented to us, especially educational opportunities.
Education became the core and backbone of the KYP, so they began incorporating tutoring programs and training matrics to do them.
We bring them into the program, we train them to be tutors, so they get to tutor our grade 1 to grade 7 children with all the subjects that they're struggling with. And we also have mentors. Part of the people in our board, they have a background in education, so they are the ones who give training to these young people on how to be a tutor. So they are the ones who get to work with these children almost about 2 hours per day, Monday to Thursday. So the kids will come here. But for high school, we've got professional teachers who come here, and they provide tutorials. And they also teach some of the what we call principal subjects that we know that our kids, they need to know, mainly English, because we believe that if you understand the language that is being used at school when teaching, you'll be able to understand your subjects very well. Then we also have a computer literacy program. So our computer literacy program, through the CNN Heroes Award that we received when Tulani was nominated as a CNN Hero, we built a computer lab. So we give free computer classes to the community, but not only in Kliptown, but from all over Soweto and Johannesburg. So people, they come and register. It's a 6-week course with a certificate. So training people on basic end user as well as internet. And with that also, we also have a second container. This container, we're always opening it up as more like a free internet space for people who want to do either CVs or also check their emails or research, mostly young people who want to do their research and schoolwork. So that container is always opened. And of course, most people will ask, oh, how do we power our center? So with us, we have solar energy. It's 100% solar powered. So we use the solar energy. Apart from that, we also have a sports program as well as performing arts program. On our sports program, we've got about 5 soccer teams, different divisions and different gender. And what we call our first team is playing on the Castle League, whereas we also have netball teams, about 3 netball teams, different age groups. We also have a performing arts program where we do a lot of campus dance, traditional dance, and music, and so that's it. With the performing arts program, it has become our biggest strong fundraiser, as well as exposing us to the world. So with the performing arts program, especially the campus dance, I'm sorry to say that we're one of the best groups when it comes to that. We've been to quite a lot of places, locally and internationally. So we've been to China almost 8 times. We've been to the States 5 times. We've been to Germany 3 times. We've been to France 3 times. We've been to Uganda. We've been to Senegal. So we traveled the world. We've been to Sweden. So this is how we also incentivize young people who are doing well within our program, not only academically, but in terms of attendance, attitude, and behavior. So we will get to be incentivized to be part of the crew that can travel to abroad whenever there's an opportunity to do so.
Over and above being a center of educational excellence and empowerment, the KYP extended their mandate further and tackled more obstacles to education, such as food security. They ensure that food is not a privilege, but a right, and every day they feed children in their community and they provide dignified meals. KYP pushed the solution envelope even further and provide psycho-wellness therapy, school uniforms, and they pay for learners' school fees.
So that is why each and every year we ensure that all our kids, they have full school uniforms, from the shoes up to a jersey. So we are taking care of such. So whenever in schools they require children to pay either fees or what they call a donation now, we also take care of that. So we're making sure that such challenges, they don't become a barrier to a child's education. The only thing that a child should worry about is that, oh, I haven't done my homework. Let me go to KYP and be helped with understanding my homework.
Welcome back to the show. The Kliptown Youth Program encounters challenges every day of poverty, inadequate education, and unemployment. However, they have found ways to tackle these.
We wanted to see the KYP in action, so Tulani, a director at the KYP, took us through the day's activity called The Next Chapter.
Today I'm going to be engaging with our 2020 grade 12s. One of the things we're going to be engaging on is the next chapter of life beyond matric, because we find it very unfair for us if we work with kids until grade 12, then we leave them just like that. Actually, our work becomes incomplete when young people don't get into formal economy or they don't get into tertiary education. So today I'll be guiding them about the importance of grabbing the opportunity that the organization is going to avail to them of going to study the careers of their own choices, and to also remind them about our event we're going to have on the 26th of March, where we're going to celebrate them for staying in school until grade 12, because we know that in communities like ours, school dropout is also one of the biggest challenges. So if someone stays in school until grade 12, they also need to be celebrated. So that's what we're going to be doing. But most importantly, to remind them to fight for their lives and to lead their lives.
Well, I started my KYP journey, I think, when I was doing grade 11. So when I come back from school, I come here and we have after classes, basically. It's basically school here, yes.
KYP has helped me ka dilo tse ngata, like from Skela, kaya ko Mondio, and it paid for my tuition. It expanded my general knowledge, kaya ko State in 2018. And yeah, and classes here, like the afternoon classes, they are to the homeworks, assignments, research, and all that, yeah.
KYP founders come from the most humblest backgrounds. So what is their key to success?
We have no educational background on how to run an organization. So what we did was, people started recognizing the work that we do. And most people will come to us and say, hey guys, how can I help? We'll be like, you're working in finance and we'd like to do our finances very well. You're working in administration, how best can we do our administration? So we'll open ourselves into people who could mentor us. So we found ourselves mentors, people who helped us to be where we are and to reach where we are. So I must say that coaching and mentorship has been the biggest game player in our lives.
KYP runs a tight ship. It comprises of a world-class, sophisticated professional structure of highly skilled problem solvers who want to see their community win.
So there's 5 of us on the management team who ensure that the organization is running smoothly. So decisions are made collectively, and we always get advice on decisions that we make. But rest assured that we are the ones who are the decision makers for the organization. So the organization has been successful because we understand our problems and we know what are the solutions. We just need advices on how to get to the solutions, and sometimes not to blunder.
True leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. And the KYP is a paragon of great leadership. Among its staff are alumni, leaders who thrive on serving their community.
In Kliptown Youth Program today, we've got 22 permanent staff, we've got 3 interns, and we also have more than 70 what we call volunteers.
The organization helped me. It took me to college. I studied marketing, furthered my studies, and when I graduated, I came here to do my practicals. And that's when I got to actually see the work that is done by the leaders so that they can actually provide opportunities to enable us to rise out of poverty. And for me to be part of the team, doing my practicals and knowing the work done, it really inspired me to want to be part of the team and help transform people's lives and young people's lives, and that's why I am here today.
Also part of the first generation of alumni, because I've been part of the program when it started in 2007. The reason why I wanted to join the program, it was that I can be assisted with my studies. So when I completed with my matric, KYP assisted me to go to varsity, of which I chose the social work field. The reason why I came back to KYP and to serve again in this very same community, It is because, number one, I was born and bred in the very same community, and I understood more about the socio-economic factors and also the general challenges that are affecting young people growing up in the very same community. So again, being part of KYP and serving here at Kliptown Youth Program, for me, it is not only about salary, but it is also part of me giving back to the very same community that raised a social worker.
Welcome back to Stories Untold. The KYP, otherwise known as the Kliptown Youth Program, embodies the greatness that is within this community. They remind us that the legacy that we create is a result of our indomitable spirit.
The way we've changed this community in the last 14 years, I must say that we've brought hope. You know, for the first time in our lives, we don't see university as for people from other communities. Universities and colleges are a reality today. We now have our own young people who are teachers. Now we've got evidence of success. We never had that before. In the past 14 years, we might have touched more than 5,000 children and youth. And recently, our program, because of the demand, it's not only in Kliptown that we see a need, but neighboring communities such as Pimville, Dlamini, Klipspruit we've been seeing a lot of young people coming through, trying to be members of the program. So what we always believed in is that we never wanted to duplicate KYP in other communities. What we wanted to do was to inspire young people in those communities to be like us, you know, to start their own thing, because we know that it always works when it's yours, because they're the ones who understand their communities and politics.
The proudest moment of our organization is firstly to see our young people thriving, because it has been our mission to help the children with their homeworks from grade 1 up to their employment contract. And as we continue to do that, we have received a number of accolades, including being part of the top 10 in the CNN Heroes during the year 2012, being on South African 21 Icons, South African Heroes, but most importantly being celebrated here in the community of Kliptown, because the work that we do here is not for fame and other things. It's basically providing opportunities that we never had as young people growing up around the community of Kliptown, because we know very well that growing up in areas like these, you never really get a chance to be at the same pace with your peers. You always have to play the catch-up game. So for us as the youth of Kliptown by then, we felt that our young people really needed to start at the same pace with their peers.
What would have happened if KYP wasn't in existence? I'm telling you that loss of hope. Most of the opportunities that we've seen wouldn't have been visible. You know, I think crime would be the name of the game in this community. A lot of young people wouldn't have had opportunities to transform their lives for the better. A loss of hope has been the name of the game for many years, but it has changed because of KYP. Exposure to the international world for more than 156 children who've been abroad, overseas, you know, visiting and also learning from those countries. Those opportunities wouldn't have been here. For a child in Kliptown to say, I'm going overseas, it's no longer, it's a norm here. It's no longer like, oh, wow, you're going to France, you're going to the States, like, now it's so and so's chance to travel. Wow, congratulations. You know, normalizing opportunities that are supposed to be normal could have not been a norm. You know, some of our children, they go to very good schools like the GP girls, you know, all these beautiful, expensive schools because of their capabilities and scholarships that they get to win for themselves. All those opportunities, we wouldn't have known about them. All the learnerships that our community is exposed to, we would have seen those. Most of the people, more than 500 people in the community, are now computer literacy. We wouldn't have had that if there wasn't KYP. Lord knows what could have been happening in this community. Loss of hope. Community responds into the work that we do with a lot of positivity. At first, people were confused about who are these young people. These guys, they're so young, they think they can just do this. But as it started working out, you will be amazed that we never had any problems with our community. Instead, people were applauding us, they were pushing us. We have so much positive response from our community.
KYP e nthusa haholo hore bana ba ka ba kgone ho tswelella ko sekolong e kgonne ho nthusa haholo because a ke kgone ho etsa dintho tse ngata ke le one ba kgone ho nthusa because every year bana ba ka ba thola uniform ko KYP ha ba tswa sekolong ba khutla ba lo ja ko KYP ha ba qetile ho ja they going to school again hore ba lo etsa di homework ko teng ha ba khutla e le late KYP e bana ba ka ba ile ba lokena ke ile ka ba le ngwana o ile nga lokena private school because of KYP ke na le ngwana o etsang grade 5 o kenang ko Florida o kentswe ke KYP so that I can understand the English le Africans and so I'm proud ka KYP.
Ngathanda ukuthi ku KYP ku member yase KYP ingathi bangaqhubeka baye phambili and lento yabo abanayo abayiqala kusasabantwana njengoba namhlanje sokwabo baba bemizi ingathi bangayishare nakwezinye indawo siyambona uthulane Madondo noThando nedafe ezinye nabantwana abanokuhamba baye boma America boma China boma Germany so into enhle leyo uyabona so bengithanda ukuthi ngathi istaff sase KYP bangaqhubeka baye phambili.
Things that I think that it will be our legacy as the founders of the Kliptown Youth Program is that we are not the lost generation. People always consider us as the lost generation because of how the young people of today are. We are not the lost generation. We're fighting a different battle. We are a generation that is still seeking its own identity. We were born in a world and we were brought into a world which our parents didn't understand themselves. Freedom was brought to the people. People were taught what they were free from, but we were not shown what are we free to accomplish. Now, that is why even today people are still fighting to say, we want free houses, we want free that, we want free that. But what can you do to get those things on your own? So the legacy that will live is an understanding to our young people to say, freedom that didn't come cheap and freedom needs to be maintained and sustained. The future of KYP, the space has grown so much. Fortunate enough, I must say that KYP has managed to get ownership of this land now. We are now full owners, and our biggest and most grateful achievement was to get an anonymous donor who has pledged to help us to transform this space and build our dream campus, you know. So we are hoping to rebuild the whole space. So we will take everything down, rebuild the whole space and make it even bigger so that we can accommodate more children. Not only are we only looking into that, but we're also hoping to expand in terms of having another social worker who could be female, also to assist the psychosocial well-being to grow, as well as even have more young people being involved in terms of being tutors and assisting more and more children with homework assistance. Most importantly is for us to attract employers, attract a lot of employers to come and hire our young people here, because hiring a child from Kliptown, you'll be investing not only into that child, but you'll be transforming a family, one family's life, you know. So yeah, that's what we're hoping for our near future, but the future looks bright and it's promising.
Our journey with the KYP today has reminded that as youth of South Africa, we have the power to redefine our history. We are indeed who we have been waiting for. From myself, Pule Molebati, and the rest of the team, let's do this again.